Hey everybody, good morning. This is Jeff Carlson coming to you live from downtown Sebring. This is season 1, episode 2 of Coffee with Carlson. Today my special guest who's laughing at me is Donald Johnson from Johnson Stivender Wealth Advisors, right? Did I say that?
Wealth Advisors.
Advisors, sorry. Got that wrong. That's what happens when you're live. You can't follow the script. Hey Dan, could you make the teleprompter move a little slower? No? Okay. Dusty, thanks a lot for being on today. I'm really excited to have you here. Hopefully the sound and everything's good. We're recording a little bit differently. We're trying different setups to make sure it works. We're trying the standing setup today. We've moved a little bit more in the sun to try and get a little bit better lighting. Again, my name is Jeff Carlson.
Dusty Johnson.
Dusty Johnson. Here we go. Dusty, so the first couple of episodes of the show, I'm trying to talk a little bit about what's going on with COVID-19 around the country. Last week we had Dr. Dennis Bassetti here, who was a fantastic guest. If you haven't seen that episode, please check it out on our Facebook page or on YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, Jeff Carlson. And you can see the recording of that. It was very valuable information. Today, I wanted to get Dusty's perspective on the economy and economic impacts, because obviously at the beginning of this, we saw a pretty big drop in the stock market.
Right.
And how bad was that?
Yeah, that was a lot bigger of a pullback than anyone could have anticipated. It was about a 34% correction from the peak in February to March 23rd, which was the bottom. And that was actually the quickest 30+% correction that the market has ever seen in the history of the stock market. Happened in 23 trading days.
Wow.
Normally that takes 2 to 3 months to happen. So, I mean, it happened in record time. We've had some decent recovery from that, which again was unprecedented for as quickly as it has recovered. But we've kind of plateaued over the past almost month. We've just been staying in this tight range, and I think it's just a lot of uncertainty that's going on in the economy, the markets, the world. We just feel the markets like to look at, are things getting better or are things getting worse? And right now no one knows for certain. So I think that's giving a lot of uncertainty to the market to say where they want to go from here.
Well, especially right now with 30 million people unemployed, it's kind of tough to see anyone out spending. And, you know, as restaurants start opening up and people don't have jobs and don't have that money to spend, how are we going to see those businesses, some of them are public companies, that are going to be, how are they going to move back up and start going again? Yeah,
I mean, I think the stimulus has definitely helped, you know, some people. You're correct. I mean, it's a big number that we got to focus on for the unemployment, of how is that going to be in the economy long term, and especially the amount of money the Congress and the Fed has dumped into this. We're talking, already $3 trillion and wanting to do another $3 trillion. So that's unprecedented. So there's just a lot of unknowns, which is scary. But we do feel we'll recover from this. I mean, we've gone through pandemics before. It's been a long time since the government shut down, since 1918. But here we are, we've recovered from that. So it's not to say we won't recover from this again.
Now, a lot of companies have started working from home. We did that for a couple of weeks, but being essential during the middle of tax season, we couldn't really shut down. And I kind of left it up to my employees to decide. Some, like my parents, they decided to work from home. And one of the other girls that has lots of kids, she decided to work from home. How's your company dealing with that right now?
So we kind of did the same thing. We shut the office down to clients once everything really started getting going. But with us being an essential business, we had to stay open as well. I've been working at home along with my wife and 2 kids at the house, so that's been going great. We're going on our 10th week of working with a full house. My dad's been working remotely at some points. He'll come in. So, I mean, it's just everyone just kind of have to take it day by day. We do have a couple people in the office there to handle anything that's coming in, but it's just working remotely, just doing the best that you can. And fortunately, with some of the products that are out on the marketplace, like Zoom and whatnot, you can still pretty much hold regular office. Yeah, so it's been good. It's going to be interesting to see how many businesses focus on now moving towards a more remote location platform than an office. And you're already starting to see that with, like, Nationwide Insurance. They announced a few weeks ago that in 5 states they're making it mandatory that those employees there are going to have to work remotely and not come back to an office. So you're already forever. So you're already starting to see businesses do that, and how's that going to affect the real estate?
Well, that's right. I watched that on the news just the other day. They were talking, the person that they were interviewing was talking about the positives for the businesses that are working remotely, i.e. not having to pay large commercial rents and overhead and these sorts of things. But they didn't even focus on the effects that it's going to have on the commercial real estate market, which could be tremendous, because now we're going to have all these vacant buildings wherever they may be. And we haven't seen that locally, but we do have some call centers here in Highlands County. You know, you never know what might happen with some of these large employers that have people that are working remotely right now. So you said let's get back to the market for a second. You said that there was a 30% correction,
34,
roughly
yeah.
34%. And where did that compare to where the market was 10 years ago?
Well,
we were still kind of correcting back to a point a little bit before that, right?
So you're referring to like
we didn't script this.
So you're referring to the financial crisis,
right?
So the financial crisis was obviously huge. I mean, you're talking about a 60+% correction during that whole time, but that took a couple of years for that to happen.
And we're still recovering from that, honestly.
To a degree.
Some
I mean,
businesses
the market has had a strong recovery since then. So seeing something, having a 30+% correction, that's not out of the ordinary for a market to have, especially in a secular bull market that we feel we're in. But it was just the speed of which it happened and the breadth of which it happened was just unprecedented. So having a 34% correction wasn't, uncommon. It was just how fast and how big it moved
right
when it did it. So
I'm going to do a quick shout out. We're downtown Sebring. This is Jeff Carlson, Coffee with Carlson, with my good buddy Dusty Johnson. And we are on South Ridgewood Drive, right in front of Strangely Warmed Coffee Company. If you haven't had a hot cup of joe yet, please head on down here. They're open until 9:30, and they're here every weekday. So come on by, chat with us, and have a good cup of coffee. And one of the interesting things I think we were talking about a little bit before the show is that I've watched in the 2008 crash, a lot of people pulled back and were holding on to cash. Now, I think a lot of people who are already in the retirement mode, like maybe our parents,
right,
they're probably holding on to cash. But I think back then, a lot of people your age, my age, were holding on to cash, and I don't know that I'm seeing that right now. What I'm seeing with a lot of my friends is they're talking about, hey, I've got $500, I'm going to throw it into an account and just start buying some stocks speculatively, which is probably good for the market because it's in helping the capitalization keep rolling.
Yeah, and I agree. That's what we've kind of noticed when this thing really started happening in March is we weren't getting a lot of phone calls of panic and worry. It was more of like, hey, would now be a good buying opportunity? I got some extra cash on the side. So that just goes to show at the time the consumer confidence in the economy and the markets was still high and strong. And I think we still have that today. We're in constant communication with our clients, so we're keeping them abreast of what's going on. There's not really any panic where they know we'll get out of this. We understand, we know what it is. And we're still having those conversations of, hey, should I put some money to work here? And there's, ideally there's better times to put money to work than at other times. So it's just trying to strategically do the best you can. But you're correct. I mean, there's still, I think, a lot more investor confidence in the market knowing that, we're going to be fine down the road and within short order. So
now it would be a good idea maybe if I had cash sitting in an account, but certainly someone that is fully invested, it probably wouldn't be a good time for them to sell something to buy something else. But if I'm down 34%, right. I would sell that and buy something else speculative.
Right. Yeah, it just depends on what your objectives are, but yeah.
So long term, what are the discussions that are going on around recovery right now?
So what we kind of feel is, the Fed and the government has really shown that they're going to be a backstop to anything major, that they're trying not to let anything like an 2008, 2009 financial crisis happen again. So I think we're kind of anticipating is that within the next 12 to 18 months, the markets are going to be back up to where they were before all this happened, if not higher. And I think you'll see the markets recover quicker than the economy does. Just again, because it's a forward-seeing projection of what we think is coming. But we feel probably summer of next year to fall is when you'll really start seeing the economy moving forward. And so by fall of next year and even going into 2022, we think things are going to be kind of back up and going like they were. Maybe a little bit different, view of how everyone's working, but we feel it's going to be kind of back up to where things were, if not better and stronger.
Yeah, that's good. Let's hope that it comes back quicker because certainly the amount of time that it takes to recover has lasting impacts for everyone. And I had a line of something that I was thinking of while you were saying that, but I totally forgot it. Well, recovery's certainly good, and everyone's starting to get back to work. We'll start seeing money spending in the economy. What do you think? Here's what it is. So we were talking. I recorded next week's podcast with some kids yesterday, talking about college students, high school students, working to get how things are going for them in the economy. And one of the interesting things that they brought up was the impacts of information in this age, where we're getting hourly counts of sick and death rates and all of these things, and how those things are priced into the market. And now that we're we're forward looking so much that information that's coming out today, some analysts already knew it,
right,
and they've already priced that into the market. Do you find that?
That's what we kind of feel to a degree as well, and that's why I think the market has kind of been stagnant right now, because we already know the predictions are out there as far as how bad the mortality rate is going to be, how many deaths we're going to see, so on and so forth. So I think that's kind of already baked in there. Now what the holdup is really how and when is this economic recovery going to start? How is it going to feel when economies start opening up, states start opening up, and that's being very slow and gradual. And when that happens, are we going to see spikes, and how is that going to affect? So I think that's where the uncertainty is just how is this economy going to start back up? Because, you got to think about it. The whole world just shut down like that. And that's a big engine to kind of kick back up and get going again. So I think that's where the uncertainty is of not knowing that information. But I agree, all the information relating to the disease itself, you're getting better and better information daily. And I think that's kind of already been baked into it to a degree.
And you have, so let's switch back to local for a minute and talk about impacts locally. You have young children, and you and your wife both work full time. How have you guys been dealing with that? Has she been working from home as well, or has she been going to her office?
No, we've been working at the house. Like I said, this is going on our 10th week. So it's been a challenge, but it's been good to, just to have that family togetherness a little bit more than we usually do. We go for a bike ride every morning before we get our day going, which has been nice.
Where do you get your bicycling gear?
A place called Legacy Bicycles. So that's really been great. Just being able to kind of spend more time, have lunch with them, go on bike rides in the morning right after we get done work, go bike riding, go fishing. So it's been good to have a little bit more quality time, and I know the kids have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's interesting that over the years we've seen the outdoor activities grow in the county, I think, as we get more trails and things like that are going around, and try to build more communities like yours that have access to a trail network and nice clean streets that you can ride around. It's a lot of fun. Different than when I was a kid and riding around some of the parks around Sebring, but certainly the community has come a long way since back then. So your kids, are their schools open right now?
Our son's daycare is. He goes to the daycare at Advent Health Center. But we just figured with Abby having to stay at home, we just said, let's just keep them all together and instead of just trying to juggle timing and all that. So we just kept everybody at home.
My daughter Morgan's at home for the summer because her school got canceled. So if you need anyone to watch the kids while you guys go out to have a meal. Now, have you guys gone out to dinner yet and hit one of the restaurants?
We've done pretty much just to go.
Right.
Don Jose's we've done, probably the most to goes from there. But my wife actually went out to Don Jose's with the kids and her parents this weekend for dinner Saturday night. So, and she says it was actually pretty busy, which was good to see. So we're still trying to support as best as we can, but doing the appropriate things. So.
Well, we're excited downtown. We've got the Sebring Soda and Ice Cream Works. They're opening back up. Dee's Restaurant is already opened back up, and we've been getting takeout from there this whole time. So it's exciting to see us actually be able to go in and sit down and have breakfast. And have a place to go out, because that's a pretty good outlet for everyone.
It is.
It helps the businesses, so it keeps everyone rolling a little bit. What have you seen have you seen any predictions in the, we'll switch gears back to some of the broader nationwide stuff, like the travel industry and some of the stocks related to that. Some of those might be good buys right now, long term, but they're all kind of staging. I think the market's probably looking at when are they going to start opening cruises back up, and I actually thought that some of those might end up being good deals, but looking at them, they're really normal price, so it's not like they're desperate. They're probably selling these things out. So what have you seen in those markets?
Well, I agree with you. They're pretty much every sector has had a major hit this year. Some have recovered already quicker than others, and so we feel for the travel industry, it's probably going to take a little bit longer. I think you're going to see, as time goes on, more travel within America and less international travel. And I think even across the seas, you're not going to see as much people coming to America. I think you're going to see a lot more people staying closer to home, probably still flying at least within their countries, but I think just trying to keep it local, just for the fear of getting on a plane for so many hours and still with everything going on.
Good morning, Stu.
So I think, you're going to see, as far as international travel, it's probably going to take an extra year or so for that to recover. Delta, read the other day, says they're anticipating 2 to 3 years until they get back up to normal. So.
Wow, I saw or I listened to the news yesterday and heard a report that said TSA reports that their travel through TSA is up 50% from February, but that number pales in comparison to what it was last year. So it's not like people are really going anywhere. And it's still kind of tough because even in the state of Florida, you still can't have short-term rentals yet. So no one's renting things for a weekend. Well, it's kind of strange. You can't go to, the last time I checked, I couldn't go to Airbnb and rent something, but I could go to a hotel and rent something.
Correct.
So it kind of messed it up. Although we were at the beach this past weekend, and I have to say it was probably record crowds.
Yeah.
More boats than I've ever seen, more people on the beach, more cars, everything.
And I've been hearing that too, of like just people that I know that live on the coast. I think it was like 2 weeks ago when things started really laxing up, that Governor DeSantis says, all right, come Monday, we're going to start phase 1. And that weekend I just heard there was a slew of people on boats out on the coast. And I think it's just the pent up, anxiousness of people just wanting to get out, just to be out in the air. So I think you're going to see, as things open, you're going to see the beaches start to, become more popular, parks become more, just to do something outside. And you're starting to hear that already across the state.
Well, one thing that could be having an impact both positively locally, I guess, in the state of Florida and negative for the northern states is that the park that we go to over on the East Coast, there are people there. Normally when we get there for summertime stay, the northern people that are there during the winter are already home, and now they're not. There are people there I've never met before who always live there during the wintertime, and they're just now packing up. They're not going to go home until the end of February or the end of May. So that's probably having a positive impact locally, but negative up north.
Yeah, I would assume that's probably correct. I think everyone's been handling this to the best that they can. I think we saw, a lot of people here leave maybe a little bit early from here to get up north just so they can be home and stay in shelter there instead of being here in Florida. So I think everyone was just kind of, if you're on the beach, why not stay there? Here, anywhere else, you may say, I'm going to go back up north. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, local economy, especially here, I think a lot of people have really stepped up to try to help the local businesses go to takeout, do what they can to help support the small businesses. And I think you've seen that around the state, which has been a good thing for local economies.
Yeah, the takeout queues have been pretty long at some of the restaurants trying to get your food and calling in. And I know some of them have been so busy it's even hard to get through on the telephone.
It is. And, I've talked to some local businesses. They say, look, we're not doing as good as we were beforehand, but we're not doing too bad. So, which is a good thing. It's good to hear that. So.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to Faded Bistro looking at getting cleaned up and getting back in line and opening back up maybe in the middle of June. So that'll be exciting. We miss having these downtown restaurants.
Yep.
It's nice because we have a nice mix for breakfast and lunch, and then another crowd that serves lunch and dinner. So it's really nice to serve the community that way. How about on the traveling standpoint, we're not really sure what's going to happen, but I think it's certainly some notes. What about retail sector? Like Home Depots and Walmart, those probably doing pretty well.
I think they're doing phenomenal. I mean, it's been surprising. I mean, a month ago, you drive down the road and Lowe's and Home Depot were just slam packed. I'm like, people are doing home projects. They got nothing else to do. So, I mean, I think that's what you're seeing is, people are doing, kind of going back to a more do-it-yourself mentality of, now I'm at home. They have no excuses to get their projects done, so they're starting to do that. So I think, that side of retail is doing well. I think Amazon has been doing fine because everyone's been shopping at home. I know my credit card bill, I thought I was going to be saving money, but, here comes more Amazon packages each and every day. But it's been good. I think retail sector, a lot of them, just from what we were looking at online, we're doing big sales. So, I mean, that's been helping a lot of retailers, generate some income.
Yeah, I know there has been some supply chain issues. Sorry, guys, we've got a paving crew working on the alley behind us right now, so it's a little bit extra noise. But I know there's been some supply chain issues with some of those national retailers where their trucks, not the trucks, but they had to shut down the warehouses. Right. So then they couldn't get supplies out. Yeah. And my son called me last night and said that, look at what we have here. We have a surprise visit from the city administrator for the great city of Sebring, Scott Natelick. Come over here and say hi, Scott. No, I said say hi, Scott.
How are you all doing this morning?
Good.
We're live streaming, talking about economic impacts that are going on right now with the shutdown, and we're so happy that that Sebring's done a great job of keeping us all safe and letting the businesses that can operate safely and are essential operate without harassment like some other places. Thank you. To you and the city council and the mayor.
And the employees.
And the employees, yeah. Good job. Thanks, Scott. Go get some coffee. Scott just got an iPhone, too, if anyone wants to know. He converted to the dark side. Oh, that's what I'm saying. So we were talking about supply chain, and that shut down because of some of the warehouses that haven't been moving. But I know what it was. My son called me last night. He was expecting something from Amazon, and he was excited to get home to get it. And then he saw the news. His package had just, this is the information that we can get. His package had just clocked out of a Chicago warehouse. It was on its way south. And 2 Amazon semi-trailers flipped. Did you see that?
I did not.
It apparently ripped the whole side off the Amazon semi-trailer, and there were thousands of packages all over the highway. So Logan's like, well, there's my speaker or whatever it was that he ordered sitting on the side of the road. So just crazy fluke things that can interrupt supply chain. But certainly one of the cool things that have kept the whole country running, including restaurants, are stores like Home Depot and Lowe's and local suppliers like Triangle Hardware. All these guys stay open because of the truckers and the people that are the logistics areas that are going through. So the logistic companies are probably doing right now too.
I think they're doing
shipping, trucking.
Oh, yeah, they're probably staying a lot more busy than they normally have been for this time of the year. So
yeah, I would guess that the UPS drivers and the FedEx drivers are all pretty tired running around.
Well, I mean,
and local
truckers.
post office too.
Yeah.
Of course, my local postman that walks the beat in downtown Sebring, he's one of the nicest guys. Always comes in with a smile. So that's one of the things I love about this community. Everybody's friendly, and we might not shake hands as much as we used to, but most people are, or at least can say they are. So I think we pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover this morning. Okay. These episodes are generally going to be 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the topic and things that come up. We certainly welcome any questions or suggestions for topics. You can send those to me at Jeff Carlson Facebook page or campaign page. I wanted to give another shout out to Strangely Warm Coffee Company and our videographer, Dan Andrews, for helping us out down here. If you haven't been down here, we've got a pretty good crowd now standing around having coffee. So come on down anytime you can. Again, this is Jeff Carlson. I'm a candidate for Highlands County Commission District 3. Vote August 18th. I'd be honored to have your support. Thank you very much, and have a beautiful morning. Thanks, Donald.
You're welcome.